Welcome to the Online Graduate Research Forum for Fall of 2019. My name is Jillian Peterson, and I'm a graduate student in the Masters of Arts in Interdisciplinary Studies program in the Department of Occupational Workforce and Leadership Studies. The title of my research study is Supervisors' Perceptions of Privatized Community-Based Care. The problem that I really wanted to investigate is the privatization of child welfare services to abused and neglected children. The problem is states are moving towards a privatized system of care to provide services to our most vulnerable population, our kids. There's a lack of research or information regarding current child welfare supervisors' perspectives of the move towards privatization of child welfare services. These perspectives should be considered in states moving towards a privatized system. My research looked at perspectives with a hope that the research could be used to help identify early in the privatization process what can be done differently, what is working, and what areas are of concern to the frontline staff. The purpose of my study was to investigate child welfare supervisors' perceptions of the shift to a privatized system of care, coined community-based care. The study is a phenomenological, qualitative study aiming to specifically address supervisors' perceptions of staged implementation of privatization on the counties surrounding the identified catchment area. The research seeks to answer the basic question, what are child welfare supervisors' perceptions of the state's move to implement a privatized model of child welfare? The researcher will seek to answer the basic question, what are child welfare supervisors' perceptions of implementing a privatized child welfare system? In reviewing the literature available on my topic, there appeared to be little literature to support or oppose privatization of child welfare services. There are several states that have transitioned to a fully privatized system for dealing with the abuse and neglect of children. Some have succeeded and some have seen widespread failure. The foster care system first identified in 1959 that children were remaining in care too long and experiencing too many placements or changes in foster homes, and states and systems have been seeking a better way ever since. Outcome information in the literature is very limited, and it makes it hard to gauge success or clearly support or oppose the idea of moving towards privatization. Child welfare supervisor perspectives are missing from the literature, creating a gap in the literature and may play a vital role in determining what the challenges and benefits may be in moving to the privatized system of care. The research completed was a phenomenological approach aiming to describe the perspectives of the supervisors who have managed teams through their shared experiences of child welfare agencies' recent shift. The research was able to gather the information through one-on-one interviews of several individuals to explore recurring themes associated with the shift. The participants included supervisors who are employed in the child welfare field, and counties outline the current privatization catchment area. All participants had at least 10 years of experience in the child welfare field, and all were female. A word-of-mouth purposive sample approach was used along with a snowball method to ascertain possible willing participants to participate in the study. Data collection was comprised of one-on-one semi-structured interviews conducted by the researcher. There were 5 in-depth one-on-one in-person interviews conducted, and all interviews were semi-structured and followed an approved interview protocol to encourage participants to freely share their perspectives on the shift to a privatized child welfare system while maintaining the structure for research focus and possible future recreation of the study. All interviews were transcribed for easier data analysis. The data analysis comprised of thematic analysis using Braun and Clark's 2006 six-step framework to identify themes and patterns in the perspectives shared. The data was coded thematically, and the information from the interviews was organized by themes to determine the themes that are expressed in the data. The themes were reviewed and defined for the research paper. The study, once transcribed and coded, was organized into 10 different code sets and then organized thematically into an underlying pattern or latent theme of what the challenges are, what the benefits could be, and how we got here, or how child welfare decision makers came to this decision. Member checking allowed me to utilize the participants in the thematic analysis process and the evaluation process by sending the transcribed interviews to the participants along with my code set and my themes to determine if they felt it accurately represented the data. All 5 of my participants responded, and all 5 agreed with the themes of data prior to me moving forward with thematic analysis and the results section of my study. I first familiarized myself with the transcribed interviews by rereading and taking notes to pull the summarized data from the data set. I created initial notes and a list of data from the transcribed interviews. I identified 10 initial themes and sorted and organized the data by potential themes. I reviewed the themes, and it was coded for relevance. I identified main themes and further organized the coded data and ordered the data by numbered occurrence and reoccurrences in the data. I produced an outline to inform my final report and incorporated the themes into my final analysis. So, for some of the results that we found. As you can see here, I was able to summarize the results in the supervisor's perceptions of challenges, the supervisor's perceptions of possible benefit, and supervisor's perceptions of how we got here. The first thing that I found is that supervisors weren't worried about themselves first. One of the things that I found in this study is that supervisors perceived the shift as having inherent challenges that they were unsure how the state or private agencies would address. And while issues surrounding their own job security in future did come up, families and children remained their top focus. They recognized concerns with possible conflict or regression of child welfare processes, and with a change in leadership and multiple agencies covering different regions of the state. They expressed worry with conflicts of interest and lack of service provider availability, and have the perception that private agencies are not fully aware of the challenges specific communities have. They're also very open-minded about possible benefits. The research and interviews also uncovered thoughts and perceptions of how they may be able to increase the availability of foster home and increase the availability of foster homes and end kids sleeping in offices. They also feel that they might be able to assess more resources or access more resources to benefit kids and families, and that they may be able to bring the community together under community-based care to start addressing the issues of abuse or neglect inside their own communities. They also had a lot to add and feel excluded from the process. They have perceptions that decisions are being made at a state level by decision makers not familiar with the day-to-day requirements of the job. There were examples of how their input could be beneficial to the transition process, and they feel that decisions have been made based on financial issues in the current child rights lawsuits that have been going on nationally and prompted a desire to shift responsibility. So the conclusion, implications, and recommendations of my research. In my research, I found that the issues with privatization and supervisor perceptions are broad and require further research and study to be beneficial to states considering the transition or states currently still in the transition phase of moving to community-based care. Applications to practice include being able to take the supervisor's perceptions into account before changing policies or creating state mandates and laws. This study and studies like these could inform lawmakers and state office level decision makers of field staff's perceived benefits and challenges, and use that to gauge readiness or determine the benefit of such a move to the families and children of their states. Future studies should be conducted and included in all decision making for children and families to ensure that we are protecting children in a way that best serves families and communities. Families, children, and broader communities would benefit from having a well-functioning child welfare system in place. The care of children and preventing abuse and neglect should be important to everyone. You may rate my presentation or provide comments and/or questions below. Thank you so much for listening.